So we are looking at solving inequalities today. So our objective is to apply the properties of inequalities in order to solve an inequality. So as part of your warm-up, you had to determine if those statements were true or false. Is 5 less than 12? Yes, so that is true. Is 5 less than negative 12? No, a whole number is never smaller than a negative number. Therefore, that's false. Is 5 greater than or equal to 12? No, so that's false. Is 5 less than or equal to negative 12? And again, the only difference from 2 to 4 is the equal to, so that is false. Is 5 less than or equal to 5? Yes, so that's true. And is 5 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, so that is also true. Then down at the bottom, you are simply solving for your variable. So I'd subtract 3 from both sides. So you got 3x equals 2x minus 6. And then we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. And you get x equals negative 6. Over here, my first move would be to distribute that 9. Giving 5x equals 9x minus 72 plus 12. Move over your 9x. So you get negative 4x. These are on the same side, so you're going to group them together as like terms. So negative 72 plus 12 is negative 60. Divide by negative 4, and you get x equals 15. Because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So we have some vocabulary to look at today. And we're going to talk about the word inequality. An inequality is a comparison of two quantities using one of the following symbols. It is a comparison of two quantities using one of the following symbols. Anybody still copying it? Awesome. Okay. So if you notice on here, the greater than is an open circle, less than open circle. The equal to's are closed circles. So that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today. The properties of transitive, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division are very similar to the properties that we had previously. So the transitive property says if A is less than B and B is less than C, then A is also less than C. Adding and subtracting, simply say if you're going to add it to the left, you have to add it to the right. If you're going to subtract from the left, you have to subtract from the right. Multiplication and division are a little bit trickier with an inequality because if you multiply or divide by a negative, which is what they're getting at right here in the second set of those lines, then the direction of the inequality changes. If you multiply or divide by a negative, then the direction of the inequality changes. And that's the key idea about the property of inequalities, is that if you multiply or divide by a negative, then the inequality direction changes. Okay. All right, take a minute, stretch out your hand. I know that was a lot of writing. Is everybody okay with those rules? It's all started coming back to you. You remember this. You're like, all right, I remember doing this for inequalities. Hopefully today is kind of like that day that you're like, yes, I can do this. So we have write an inequality for each of the following descriptions. X is at most 25. So what that means is X isn't bigger than 25. It's at most 25. So that means X has to be less than. And then if you go back, and it's going to leave a mark on here. If you think about these, if it's at most, so we know it's going to be a less than, it's also going to be equal to, because at most means it can get there, but it can't go beyond it. So X is at most 25, means X is less than or equal to 25. X is not equal to 25. So this is not an inequality, but rather a not equal to symbol. X is greater than 25. So my X value has to be greater. It's not equal to. X is less than 25. So being able to interpret what the words and sayings mean is very important in mathematics. Solve the inequality, graph your solution. So negative 2x is less than 3 times the quantity x minus 5. We're going to distribute the 3 to start. Subtract 3x to the left. In inequalities, it's always easier to have your variable on the left. Now right here, I have negative 5x divided by negative 5. When you divide by a negative, the direction of the inequality changes, and I get x is greater than 3. We're going to put 3 in the middle. You need to put a number above it and numbers below it. So we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to put a number for every line. X is greater but not equal to, so it's an open circle, which I need to know clearly if you draw an open versus closed. If I can't tell, I assume it's closed. And then it's greater than 3, so you shade right. What that means is I should be able to pick any number here on the shaded region and plug it in. So if I picked 5, is 5 greater than 3? Yes, it should be true. I should also be able to take that 5, plug it back into the original, and it should also be true. So 5 minus 5 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 is in fact greater than negative 10. So I can see that plugging it in is also true. Okay, number 2, distribute. Combine like terms. On your number line, you'd put maybe 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. It's greater than or equal to, so we have a closed circle. But since the variable's on the left, the shading's the opposite of what you'd think. This is really the same as saying S or N less than or equal to negative 2. So you'd shade below. Good. Okay, we have 7x greater than 7 times 2 plus x. So you get 7x greater than or equal to 14 plus 7x. Subtract 7x from both sides. 7x minus 7x is 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 14? No. So if 0 is not greater than or equal to 14, then there's no value of x that makes this true. So this equation or inequality has no solution. Number 4, we get 2x is less than 2x plus 2 plus 3. Combine your 2 and 3. Subtract 2x. This time I get 0 is less than 5. Is 0 less than 5? Is 0 smaller than 5? Yeah. So if the other example was no solution because it was false, this one is true. So what do you think that tells me about my solutions? Are there none again? Okay. So let's plug in a number. Let's plug in 2. So is 4 less than 9? So a number less than 5 worked. Just for the sake of my purposes, let's plug in a number bigger than 5. Let's plug in 6. That's 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 3. So a number bigger than 5 worked. If you get something without a variable, if it is false, it's no solution. If there's no variable in your answer and it is true, what's kind of like the opposite of no solution? What'd be the opposite of no solutions? Infinitely many. So Colton wasn't wrong saying all the numbers less than 5, but it's actually every number in the entire universe. Okay, a real estate agent earns a salary of $2,000 per month. So that's the amount she makes no matter what. They earn 4% of their sales. So 4% as a decimal is 0.04. Anytime we use a percent in a problem, we need to change it to a decimal. To get a percent to a decimal, you take the percent and divide it by 100. So 4% of her sales, we'll call sales S. Find the sales. The salesperson is to have a monthly income of at least $5,000. So if this side represents her income, if it has to be at least $5,000, her income needs to be greater than or equal to 5,000. So she gets 2,000 no matter what, plus 4% of her sales. We are trying to find the sales, so we're solving for S. So subtract 2,000 from both sides. So you get 0.04S greater than or equal to 3,000. Divide by 0.04. And we get S greater than or equal to 3,000 divided by 0.04, which is 75,000. So what that means is that salesperson needs to sell $75,000 to make a commission on those sales to earn $5,000 per month. Okay, a digital music service offers 2 subscription plans. The first has a $9 membership fee and charges $1 per download. The second has a $25 membership fee and 50 cents per download. So we'll call subscription 1, subscription 2. So $1 per download plus a $9 fee. This is a $25 fee plus 50 cents per download. How many songs must you download for the second plan to cost less than the first plan? So if I set them equal, I'll find the download at which they cost the same. So at 32 songs, they cost the same. So what that means is that if I download more than 32 songs, the second plan is a better deal. So any download greater than 32, the second plan will cost less. Okay? Your homework is the next set of problems in the packet. It's 11 or 12 problems only.